Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming today. My name is Nick, and I'll be giving you a brief, informative speech on social media and its effects on performance. Now, performance can be measured in a number of different ways. It can be measured in creative performance, mental performance, physical performance. We're going to briefly touch on each of those three subjects today. We start today by visiting a study done by Professor Aid Al-Faris from the King Saud University, who found that 90% of people utilize social media at some point in their life, whether that be professional or personal. Based off of the number of people in this room, it's statistically probable that all of us have utilized it at least once. First, we're going to cover how it affects your focus, which we're going to go to a study from Trabzon University that covered social media and multitasking while using it to study. The hypothesis for this was that students that utilized social media while they were studying would significantly have adverse effects on their grades based off of the fact that they're trying to split their attention between two things that require a lot of attention. The study group was made up of high schoolers ranging from 9th grade all the way through 12th grade. About a quarter of each of the study was in each grade, so it averaged out about 25% to each grade. It was also split evenly, 50% male, 50% female, to try to be as unbiased as possible. Now, the study groups were broken up into three different categories: students that actively used social media while they were studying, students that had social media available to them but weren't actively on it, and students that were not using it whatsoever. The results of this experiment were that the students that were consistently using social media did have slightly lower test grades, but not significant enough to prove that social media was really the cause. And there were some other students, there were some outliers in the other two categories that also kind of fell into that category. Next, we'll be moving to a more physical and a mental evaluation. This one was done by the Federal University of Paraíba. It was done with young male volleyball players, roughly in their early 20s. Their hypothesis was that students that utilized social media before coming to practice would have worse physical performance, they would have impaired decision-making, which would ultimately result in worse performance on the court as a whole. After studying the students for a few weeks, they realized that social media actually had no negative effects on them physically. If anything, there was actually evidence that pointed towards it giving them a slight boost in their physical aspect. However, much like the first study, it did impair their focus and their ability to pay attention and their decision-making ability. With that being said, there were points where the students that had utilized social media were performing worse cognitively than their peers. This will take us to our last study, and I've told you a lot of bad information today about social media, but it can't all be bad. This one's a touch on your productivity and your creative productivity, to be specific. It was conducted by Yemen University. Now, this age group had people from age 25 to 40. It took adults, which breaks up multiple generations, gives you a nice wide spread of age, so there's no real bias there. The study was that people utilizing social media in their work will be more productive than those that do not. The result of this test was exactly that. The people that utilize social media as part of their daily job were more excited, more enthusiastic to come into work and do things, which ultimately led to higher creativity and higher productivity across the board. So in conclusion, with the vast majority of people on social media, it's important to remember that it's a positive and a negative thing. If you learn to control it and learn to do everything the way you should, it can improve both your productivity and your happiness. But it is also critical to remember that if you have something very important coming up, whether you're studying for a test, a big presentation, or a job interview, you probably don't want to be on social media right before you'll go in because it could compromise your cognitive response. Thank you for coming to my speech today. You guys have a wonderful day.